And the Giants sitting there at 3. We all know they made quite the YOLO move for Matthew Stafford. Didn't work out. Rodgers is sitting there. Do you think Rodgers makes sense for the Giants or the Steelers on those subject matters? One at a time, if you wouldn't mind, Mike Mayock.
Yeah, I think he wants to play for 2 years, and I think he can do that on either team. It's interesting to me because, like Pittsburgh, I know Mike Tomlin pretty well, and Mike has no problem with direct communication, and it's going to be run his way. So, even though Aaron brings a certain circus to town, I don't think he's in a negotiating position at this point in his career to be anything more than a really good teammate, which he is anyway. He's a good teammate. But I think they're going to have to do it the Pittsburgh way. Heavy run game, play action. I think Aaron can do some of that. He can still throw the football, and I think he'll be a better player than he was last year coming off the Achilles. So I think he can be in play in Pittsburgh as long as he understands the fit, the role, and that the general in that building is Mike Tomlin. As far as the Giants are concerned, another situation where I think you got a head coach and a GM feeling some heat. You got to win some football games now. So I think the Giants have got to be putting the full court press on Aaron Rodgers to keep him in the metropolis of New York. And in a different way to look at it, could Pittsburgh say, well, we can win with Russell Wilson? They can. But at the end of the day, I think one of those teams may end up looking at the two options I talked about earlier, which are Kirk Cousins and Derek Carr a couple of months down the road.
Interesting. So let's just linger here for a second. Because, again, it's always dangerous to assume what Rodgers is thinking because it sounds like you're talking for him and nobody does that, right? So that's my preface to what I'm about to say. It just strikes me as that Rodgers wouldn't want to do what you mentioned with the Giants because he's done that movie before with the Jets. Listen, we all know, every quarterback knows if he does not perform, the coach and the GM might eat it. Okay, like that's just the way life is in the NFL. But he just did that with the Jets, where I'm coming in, I need to win games, and if I don't, there's an ownership that's going to clean the whole house. And going to Pittsburgh is a different story for him. You know what I mean? Like that's a totally different ball of wax, and I think he and Tomlin absolutely can coexist. I don't think it's that ill of a fit that maybe those on the outside looking in would think. And that if I'm Rodgers, I'm putting every ounce of my firepower to get there. That's where I want to go because they made the playoffs last year. It's not a reclamation. They're going to need somebody to feed the $33 million a year wide receiver, right? Like they got to do that. And I think that makes sense,
Maybe I wasn't clear, and then you've accused me of that in the past. But I do believe that his number one landing spot should be Pittsburgh, mostly for what you alluded to. And I do believe, and I said this, he is a good teammate. Like a lot of that I've seen him practice a lot. I've been on the practice field with him. He's a smart football dude, okay, and he'll buy in. You just bring a certain circus to town. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But they got two really gifted wideouts right now. They made the trade for DK, and this Pickens dude is the kind of guy I think can go either way. As far as, Pittsburgh's had a couple of wideouts over the years. Let's face it, Antonio Brown, and the Raiders, rescued them out of that situation. Then Deontay Johnson, and now they've got the George Pickens situation. They typically know when to cut bait on wideouts. But this Pickens dude is gifted. And I think Aaron Rodgers is the kind of guy that can get a lot out of him, can connect with him, can convince him that he and DK can be special together. So I do believe if I'm Aaron Rodgers and I'm 41 years old and I've already been through what you discussed, Rich, I want to finish. It's much less about the money and a hell of a lot more about trying to win football games.
Mike Mayock here on The Rich Eisen Show. Catch The Rich Eisen Show live weekdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports Channel in the U.S.